What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ask A CISSP. So the point of this show is for me to talk to people who are trying to break into cyber or who are early in their journey into cybersecurity. This is a companion to our The Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made to the other side of the proverbial firewall. So please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host for this interview, Mr. Arthur Pryor. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So I reached out this week, just to see if anybody wanted to be on. So a little bit behind the scenes, we're recording this one danger close to Thursday, so it should go up in time. But if not, then it'll get there when it gets there. But I definitely like that you reach out to me. I think this is going to be a really good conversation, and we'll post it as soon as we can. So, what is your experience like? What did you study? Where you coming from? Like all that good background stuff.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, yeah. So, I went to Florida State University, go Noles,
Okay.
and I actually majored in statistics. I've always been really good at math. That's sort of been my thing. After I graduated, I got into the analytics space. So, just working with data, doing a lot of modeling, predictive analytics. I was actually an actuary for a number of years. And that was pretty neat. I got to do a lot of like real world application of the things I learned in college. So I was actually making regression models. I was actually doing like Monte Carlo simulation, all that cool stuff. It was pretty neat. But really, I came to realize that math was something that I was really good at, but it wasn't something that I necessarily enjoyed. And yeah, I got really bored with the work, and I really started looking for a change of pace. So, when it came time to choose my major when I was in college, I really did have a strong inclination for cybersecurity, considering doing a computer science route. But ultimately, I chose the math, which now I'm kind of, trying to explore this whole cybersecurity thing. So yeah, I'm based out of DC now. I hear this is like the cyber metro. So like I said, looking for that change of pace, I actually enrolled in a cybersecurity boot camp, and I'm doing that now, scheduled to be done in March, to try to help me break into the field.
No, that's what's up. Well, I'm not currently in Florida, right? So I'm overseas, but that's where my family lives nowadays. So I definitely can appreciate that. And there's great opportunities for cyber there as well. But like you said, you're definitely in one of the major hubs when it comes to cybersecurity. So once you get your foot in the door, man, I don't think you'll have any issues, to be honest with you. It just depends on what path you want to choose, right? So do you have any inclinations of kind of where you want to head when it comes to cybersecurity?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the main things I wanted to get some feedback on. Because I do have some areas that I'm interested in, but I really I'd like to leverage my previous experience in order to propel me into the world. So right. Are there any areas of cyber that you think my background would lend itself to?
So analytics in general fits into a lot of pieces of cyber, whether it goes into risk management or parts of auditing logs, digital forensics. Like you have the keys to the kingdom when it comes to more comprehensive cyber, right? So like I'm not a math dude. Like I was a computer science major a long time ago, and I hit my ceiling. So I had to pivot hard off of that one. And I still do fine when it comes to cybersecurity. So, but there's certain jobs where I'm just like, it's not really for me. Like, again, when it comes to using data science in cybersecurity, machine learning, AI, things of that nature, like I think your math background will definitely help you out. But it's hard to tell you where to start. So you're going through the boot camp. I'm sure part of the boot camp is going to be like Security Plus. maybe CEH if they go into the pen testing side, or CYSA. There's a few other routes they could take you. Do you know exactly like what does it culminate to? Like where are they trying to get you into cybersecurity?
Yeah, so I just started. Like I've literally been in a boot camp for a week, so I'm
Okay.
still trying to see where they're taking us. It's going to be done in March. It's really all immersive. So the idea is at the end of the boot camp, we'll get that Security Plus certification. But
Okay.
I'm really trying to get ahead of the curve, honestly. So I already started for it. I'm gonna sit for it next month is my goal.
Okay.
And I've really been looking at that pen testing route, to be honest, because that's the glamour, that's the glory everybody
Right.
wants to like. That's actually what a hacker is. So
Right.
I've been looking at that, CompTIA, Pen Test Plus certification, stuff like that. But I guess one of the things, so I've been looking at a lot of pen testing jobs on Indeed and whatnot, and all of them are like 8 years of experience, 10 years of experience. So
Right.
it doesn't really seem to me like those are entry level roles. So, like what sort of job should I start out in order to maybe transition into a pen testing role?
So I usually always point towards the help desk, but in your case, it's not that it wouldn't be fitting, but you kind of you're not looking at potentially working really hard on hardware. Like it seems like with your background, it'd be more of the software side of the house that you would want to be more invested in my opinion. Again, like you learn a lot when it comes to when you touch equipment and what have you, but with the analytics and your math skills and your degree and what have you in mathematics, statistics, I would say you may want to go the route of trying to obviously finish your Security Plus. I think that's always a good entry level certification because it gives you a broad view of cybersecurity, right? And then from there, so like you said, pen testing is kind of a leap. Like I've seen where people are getting hired with entry level, but like you said, a lot of advertisements are asking for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, like ridiculous numbers. Yes, like for a skilled, seasoned pen tester who's going to lead teams, but not for entry level. Like I tell everybody, like if the ad is for entry level, I would still apply. Like and try to showcase your talent when it comes to the interview. But in your case, you may want to lean towards looking into uh, forensics or trying to see if there's a SOC. There's probably a ton of them, like security operations centers in your area to see if they have entry level positions where you're looking at logs, you're pulling statistics, things of that nature. So, like I tell a lot of people, a good starting place is to go to LinkedIn, where you reached out to me, go into jobs, put in your zip code, and kind of what you're looking for. Like type in Security Plus, type in analytics, things of that nature, and you'll see, especially in your area, hundreds of jobs will pop up. And it's just a matter of finding one that has realistic expectations for entry level position. And then it's the networking, right? So again, like you're on LinkedIn, as probably as well as other social what's the word I'm looking for? Social pages to build your network. Definitely find people in DC. Like I'm sure that there's a BCA, like a Blacks in Cyber Association, or people of color in IT, or there's a chapter somewhere nearby. And I would definitely hook up with them and start picking their brain because that's going to get you your foot in the door.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's cool from the technical perspective, but also what I'm really looking, I guess, to get from you is like insight into how you feel about the field. Like what do you like about working in cyber? What don't you like about working in cyber? How'd you get into the field? Like stuff like that. Tell me a little bit of your
Okay.
story.
So I came from the IT side. So by trade, I'm a network guy. The Air Force taught me how to build networks and secure them. And then I started getting to the security side from there. It's more of a passion. So I get to do a little bit of it. What I currently do but I crave more, right? So when I do eventually transition to the private sector, I want to definitely pursue cyber over IT. And the difference being, right, IT, I'm building the network, I'm defending that network. But when it comes to cyber, um, it's all encompassing with security as well as protecting the business, right? Either protecting the people who are using the business, so I'm protecting their information, or I'm protecting their credit card numbers, their personal identifiable information, or I'm protecting the company, making sure they stay within their framework. So I'm kind of in the air of what I want to do, whether it be to go into, I'm really interested in PCI DSS, so payment card industry, like working for a bank or something of that nature. But I'm also interested in forensics, and they're not the same. Like there's two, like cyber is so vast, right? And these are different branches. Like they all have a root, but they go into different frameworks and what have you. So that I'm undecided on. But what keeps me going is I learn something new all the time. Like I'm real big in education. Like I said, I was a computer science major to begin with. Uh, Fascinated by it, but I had a ceiling in math, which I feel as though I could have gotten over it, but it would have took me years, man. Like for me, math is just not my strong point. But I have Junior. He is a math whiz. I'm just like, you get that from your mom. You didn't get that from me. So I can't even help you with your homework. But I'm always learning something new. Like every week we go over topics. On Monday and Tuesday, we have a discussion on Wednesday. And in those topics, I always get to see what bad guys can do with cyber. Like when you have free reign, you have no restrictions except for going to jail, uh, and you have an interest in doing damage. It's just very creative. I'm just like, I want to be the person to protect you from that. Like I want to figure this out before they figure it out. Like I want to close these loopholes and stop these breaches before they happen. And that fascinates me because every week there's something new. They find out a new way to attack people. And then you had a third question.
Yeah. So, that was definitely the good, but, I want to know the bad, like the nitty gritty. Like, I get cyber is great. You learn everything, all that cool stuff. But what would you say is the worst part of your job,
I would say it's like everybody says, oh, gatekeepers are terrible, yada, yada, yada. It's that it's not new. Cyber's been around for decades, right? So I've been doing it for over a decade now. Like I was IT for a decade. I've been doing cyber for almost a decade. Like it's existed before I even knew what it was, before I knew what cybersecurity was. But you have a lot of people who are getting in and trying to shut the doors. And it baffles me, right? Because there's so many open positions. Like the industry needs more people, but like you're seeing ads where like, yeah, we want 8 years for entry level position. Where are you gonna find that person at? Like that person doesn't exist. So it's that it's, I don't know. I want to say them. Like you point at fingers at people that you don't even know. You don't even see them. But it feels as though sometimes the industry doesn't onboard people very well. And that's kind of what this podcast is for, right? Like the other side, I'm talking to people who are already in the industry. Like, hey, you can be like these people because we make up such a small percentage of cyber. Like some say 7, some say 9%. And we're like, we need more people. We need more people. But then at the same time, we're deterring people from coming in. Like somebody goes out their way to pursue something that they think is cool, and we don't necessarily ignite that spark because we stop you from even getting your foot in the door. So that part I don't like. The job is the job, right? Like you just have to find what you like. And again, there's so many different things you could do. I can't even figure out which one I want to pursue the most. So there's going to be something in cyber that's going to interest you, something that you want to pursue. Like it's just the hurdles that you sometimes run into. That part I do not like because it was the same thing in IT. Like IT, you start getting good at it and whatnot, and you have people who are just like, yeah, well, you don't have enough experience. Like, well, I got a decade of experience. They're like, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. Like, that's nice. like, I'm learning as you're learning. Like, you still have to keep up. Things are always changing. People, like I said, people are using cyber in different and fascinating ways every day. So there's always something new, and there's so many vacancies. Like they're screaming for people.
Gotcha. So what do you think I can do to better qualify myself to fill these vacancies? Because I know they're out there, but like, how do I set myself apart from Joe Schmo who's also applying for the same position?
So it comes to what you're bringing to the table. So when we talk to Gabe Davis from CISA, he says that he works with an office full of people who don't necessarily have cyber degrees. Like they are in cyber, but they're bringing their law degree to cyber. They're bringing their math degree to cyber. They're bringing their engineering in something totally different, software development, or it could even be just like hardcore, like I build things engineering, but they're bringing it to cyber. So it's your thought process. So like for you, bringing your statistics and analytics separates you. You're not just I see a lot of, and it's not bad, but I see a lot of MBAs jumping into cyber because ultimately cyber protects a business. So like they have that leg up on somebody like me. Like my degree is in cybersecurity information assurance, was good, but my undergrad was in psychology. So like I think that that's even bigger separator, right? Like I'm bringing like the human side to cybersecurity. Like I can try to get in the heads of the people who are attacking you, just off social dynamics, socioeconomic status, things of that nature. I can bring to the table. I think that's what's going to separate us. And I think that people who are just coming in with just pure degrees, with not lack of experience, but like they're just coming right through the pipeline. I don't think that they bring as much to bear as someone like you or myself who has a diverse background. So I think that gives you the leg up.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess another thing I've really been having trouble, I guess, figuring out, there's not really like a set career ladder in cyber. Like, I get entry level stuff, SOC analyst, whatever. But like, as a person's career develops, like, what are some of the job titles you might hold as you move up the ranks to, like, I don't know, let's say becoming a chief information officer?
Right. So it typically, like from what I've seen, it depends on, like you said, are you going to work in a SOC? Then there's different tiers to that, right? The same thing if you worked in IT, you'd be a tier 1, 2, or 3 engineer of whatever you do. So it kind of pretty much holds true whether you go into cloud or you go into something else. You'll have those different tiers, and then once you get out of that tier grouping, you'll be a manager, a supervisor, or a director of some sort. And then you can be like Shannon is in ISSO, you have ISSMs. When we had Aisha Hollins on, she holds the title of CISO. So like she is like right there in the C-suite. So that's kind of the moving up. And then, like you said, you have your chief technology officer and things of that nature above that. Usually, those people are more on the business side of the house.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I know you got this CISSP certification, right?
Right.
So what other certifications do you have, and what certifications would you recommend?
Gotcha. So for me, because I came from the IT side, so I have my Net Plus, my Security Plus, my CCNA, so Cisco, for switching and routing and what have you. I also hold a CEH that I grabbed when I was pursuing my master's. Like you said, I have my CISSP, and now I'm looking at trying to get some cloud certs, because ultimately I want to be able to secure the cloud as well. That's the future. Like no matter where you turn, like I'm used to having on-premise stuff, but even in the military, we're moving to the cloud at lightning speed. So it's efficient. It saves money. It's less of a hassle if you have the money to do so. So I definitely want to get there. I would say once you find your passion, pursue things in that. But I would say that's a foundation, Security Plus, right? I guess your foot in the door. If you want to go the pen testing route, your CEHs, your CHFIs hold decent weight, but I think like CYSA plus, and trying to think of another one. Is it CROC, CRIS? I cannot remember off the top of my head. CRIS. I believe I don't have it. So as you see, I'm struggling, but there are certain ones that you might want to look at on the ISACA side. There's definitely some really great certs on the GX side. So GX has GCFA was one that I have the stack of books. So this is a passion project in itself right here. As you can see, there's 5 volumes of books right here. I have not taken it yet, so I'm still flipping through the books. But like that's one I'm thinking about because it definitely gets you into sifting through logs, looking at malware, trying to figure out how it works, reverse engineering and things of that nature, like working on things in sandboxes. But I would say figure out kind of what you're interested in before you just start taking a bunch of certifications. Because I mean, education is great. You learn something new, but if you're like me, now you'll have stacks of books all over your apartment. You'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that one. Like that one's coming up. But I have my IT search because I was IT for the majority of my Air Force career, and now I'm getting my cyber certs. Oh, and PMP. So if you're into project management, I have my PMP as well. I think that's amazing. Like PMP, just the mindset of a project manager. Like I think that helps you not only in help with like doing your own life tasks, but if you decide to go into business, it gives you a leg up when it comes to cradle to grave project management.
Gotcha. So I guess a big thing for me, like I said, I'm a career changer. I worked in analytics for 7 years. So I already knew changing careers, I was going to have to take a pay cut. That's kind of like I've internalized it. This is what it is. But I'm really trying to get a sense, like, what kind of money are we talking for these entry level positions,
So like you're in an area, like your area throws the charts off because it's very expensive to live there and they're going to pay you more, right? So I know people who I worked with when I was in Virginia that moved to DC, and they were making twice as much, but it was still hurting their pockets. Like they had to. I got a friend who lives in West Virginia, so he commutes every day, but he found some place that his money is worth a lot, right?
Yeah.
But if you're trying to live anywhere inside DC, it's like it's kind of tight. On average, like if you go if you go entry level, it can range from 40 to 60, depending on your area. Like for you, that's inflated. It could be 60 to 80, 70 to 90. It don't matter. Like y'all ball out of control over there in DC.
Okay.
So like the equivalent, like if you live somewhere that was normal, it would be somewhere around 40 to 60. But then once you get your foot in the door, man, like there's so many vacancies like in your area. Like I know you have CISSPs trying to hire more people. You have DHS is trying to hire more people, and there with that comes a lot more pay. Just with your security plus and experience, it pays pretty well. So it's kind of a grab bag. But once you get into management, that's when you start to break 6 figures. But I take that back. Like I know people who are they're not managing anybody. Like they literally go to work and do their job and they're making 120. So it really depends on what path you take. And then for you, it's building your network. Like there's a ton of jobs in DC that are paying stupid money. It's just a matter of figuring out where they're at. Because like I said, like all the federal agencies are paying good money. Like if you type in 8570, like once you get your security plus, 8570 is like a tiering of certifications to work for the federal government. Mm-hmm. So I knew people when I was in Virginia they came in making 60 to 70 for tier 2, tier 3 type work. But then they left us and they went up to DC to make 25%, 50% more. So the money is there, but it's a matter. You have to be patient with getting into one of these entry level jobs. But once you're in, you have the experience, right? but it's like the memes where you had the little kids in hard hats and road construction gear, like, oh yeah, we need 20 years of experience. Like, well, when I start, when I was 5, like it don't make no sense. But it's just being patient, just networking. Because again, there's so many vacancies, but I think a little bit more misfortunate, like not to target recruiters, but a lot of them don't have the IT knowledge. So they're regurgitating other ads. You have people in HR departments who aren't necessarily techie, and they'll like, we want, not necessarily just experience, like we want this degree, but with that degree, you don't have necessarily the experience, right? Because like you're just now graduating with that degree, as opposed to I'll take somebody who has experience over a degree when it comes to certain positions. So we always have this fight where it's like, what's more important, experience, certifications, or degrees? Well, they're all important, but what trumps all of them? Experience. How do you get the experience? You got to get your foot in the door. You got to keep applying and keep trying to network and whatnot. And what usually piques people's interest is your passion plus certifications. Like, yeah, I have not been in the field for 5 years, but I'm very passionate. I've been studying on my own. I built my lab. You know what I mean? I'm doing these things. I can talk the talk. Now you just have to let me operate, whatever it is. And that's usually how a lot of people break in as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I've been thinking about that too a lot. And like I said, with the whole pen testing thing, that's something that really strikes my interest. But the thing about pen testing is you can't really get experience like beforehand. You know, like anything that you do with pen testing is highly illegal until you're actually a pen tester. But, you know, I've been on Hack the Box, you know, I'm doing all the try hack me's, all of that stuff, like trying to get, you know, as much experience as I can experience, like in a sandbox situation. But I guess how valuable do you think that would be to potential employers? Or are they just like, I don't care about that?
No, absolutely not. Like labbing is, like you said, it's not you attacking the company and finding their open ports and trying to social network to grab, you know, passwords and whatnot, because that's very illegal. That will get you hemmed up. But what do you do when you can't do, you know, real life work? You lab, you get the experience. I think that stuff really does stand out. Like, especially if you're showing that you have passion in doing it. Like LinkedIn's the living resume. Like if you're, you know, posting like, oh, you know, I've been doing this, I'm learning that, I built this, I made these virtual machines so I can try to hack that. Like when it came to switching and routing, right? Like a lot of me trying to get my CCNA was a lab environment, whether it be GNS3 or what have you. And then it was me buying really cheap gear. Like or actually I didn't even buy it. So at work, they had a couple of 8-port PoE switches. And I was just like, hey, can I sign those out with a handful of Ethernet cables? And I just built a network from there, just kept building it, taking it down, building it, taking it down, breaking it. Because how else do I get the experience? So it's the same thing when it comes to pen testing and things of that nature. Like you lab it up, but it's you marketing yourself. It's you talking to other people like, hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing this. What are you doing? I'm doing that. You know, how'd you get here? Like asking me questions. I think you can use this on your page to showcase your interest and your passion. But don't just reach out to me. Like find somebody who's actually in that industry. Like find a pen tester. Like, hey, like how'd you get started? Like what products did you use? And then also like, hey, you got any jobs? Is there any openings in your company?
Yeah, I get you. All right. So I guess really my last question, and you know, I hear a lot of mixed reviews on this, but you know, how much programming do you do? Because you know, I feel like some people do a whole bunch. That's all they do is write Python scripts. Some people not so much. So how much do you do? How valuable do you think it is?
So learning any language for programming is good. I'm computer science dropout, right? And so I know a little bit of Python. I don't use it on a regular basis. Like I use it because I'm interested in it, not because I have to use it for my job. There's a little bit of automation. If you go into the automation side, like if I were to pursue my CCNP and above, I would definitely start to pick up scripting languages just because automation is pretty important. But if that's what you want to do, like if you want to go into software, if you want to go into software design, if you want to go into protecting software, then I would definitely say pick up a language. I don't think it's something you have to necessarily focus on if you're going into pen testing, to my knowledge. Like I definitely would have to ask a pen tester because that's just not my wheelhouse. And but when I pursued my CEH, my CHFI, and then when I was looking at GCFA, there's no programming involved. It was, do I understand what logs look like? Do I understand what malware looks like? Registry keys, things of that nature. Like, can I find a threat before it is actualized? Not anything to do with programming per se. But it doesn't hurt. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's something that you necessarily have to key into until you find a position that's asking for that. Then you're like, oh, okay, I see like where I want to go requires me to learn Python or something else, then I'll pursue it. But just general, like in the interview, whip out some Python knowledge. No.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Yeah, I think those are all the questions I have prepared. So I definitely appreciate you, like I said, taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I would definitely hit up like I know like with Tisha Harper. So Tish was on. She's pursuing pen testing. I see her on Twitter and LinkedIn doing the same thing, like hack the box, try to hack me, things of that nature. She's like networking with people. She's asking those questions. I would say you just need to do the same thing in the realm that you're thinking about going into, and I think that definitely does help, and it gives you the awareness in your sector. So I definitely wouldn't stop doing that. Like you're in such a good area. I'm just like, man, in DC, you're definitely going to be able to network and find someone who's going to be like, yeah, come work with us, get your foot in the door. We'll even pay for some of your training. Like I don't think that's going to be a problem for you, especially after you finish your boot camp. I think that'll definitely hold great weight. I'm just like, I'm pretty excited for you just on the area alone. Like that whole area is just booming. Same like Florida is too, but not like DC. Like DC has private sector government contracts. Like it's a hot spot right now. So
music to my ears.
Yeah, you definitely be all right. And like I said, like once you get your Security Plus, I would definitely look into, because working for the federal government, I mean, they a lot of these contracts are paying for further training because it's just nets them more money, right? Like not only do I have a guy who has a Security Plus, but he also is moving up the ladder, and they're going to pay our contract that much more money. So we'll pay him more money to keep him around.
You actually bring up an interesting topic. So, I've seen a lot of government work for sure. So what do you think is the better route to go? Like, should I start out government, private sector? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the pros and cons of each?
So from what I've seen, when it comes to government contracts, the pay is great. There's some risk. So the risk being like, when did that contract start? Because usually they have goals while they're up. So if your contract is not fulfilling its goals, it could be canceled. But they all have expiration dates, and sometimes they renew, sometimes they don't. So I've had friends who've had 3 or 4 different jobs because they'll get into the end of a contract, the contract will end, and they have to go look for more work. But while they were there, they're getting paid excellent. Like I saw one for Jacobs one time that was paying $90,000 for 6 months of work. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
But then you need to find a new job after 6 months. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of stressful. Yeah. But if you have the flexibility to be able to hop like that, then more power to you. But if you go the government civilian route, that has more stability, but does not pay as well as contracting. So that's kind of the give or take. Private sector, same thing, right? So depending on where you work at, if it's an at-will state, I mean, if it's not working out, they can just terminate you. But that just means, you got to come there and perform your A game. So there's 3 different schools of thought. Which one I choose? It depends on, for me, because I have a family, stability. I'm going for stability over anything else. But like my single friends on contracts, I work 4 different jobs. Like they pay me that much money, and I just have to, save until I can, So I have like a little bubble to move on to the next contract. I don't think anything's wrong with that either. It's just a little bit more too risky for my taste.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I appreciate you reaching out, man. Like, I'm definitely going to keep tabs on you, see what you do, because I'm interested to see where you go, because it's definitely a different route than when we started this conversation. Like when I was looking through your LinkedIn profile, I was like, well, you can go this, you can do that, but I didn't think pen testing when I looked at it. Not because you can't do it, because you obviously can, but I just I was thinking more of analytics, data science, things of that nature. So I was like, okay, that's what's up. So I'm very interested to see where you're going. I would love to have you back on once you do land that job, to ask you how you did it. Like, okay, so what routes worked for you? You know what I mean? Like, just to see if what I'm saying made sense, because it could be different, right? And then that helps me course correct, so that way I don't steer the audience wrong. So
Yeah, definitely.
that's what's up.
Yeah, I'll definitely stay in touch. Once I land this job, I'll be back on. No problem.
Okay, that's what's up. So I'll go ahead and land this plane. So thank you for those listening. Thank you, Mr. Pryor, for stopping by. I greatly appreciate your questions. It definitely keeps me on my toes, and definitely answers some of the questions the audience may have, and they just didn't reach out to ask it. Right. Um, Hit up the website www.theothersideofirewall.com, where you can get to all the socials. You can hit me up personally, just like every Ask A CISSP show. They usually hit me up on LinkedIn at Ry Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I'm also on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. Kinda. I don't know. I don't still understand how IG works. I think I'm too old. And where can they find you at?
Oh yeah, I don't really do much of the socials, honestly. So I got LinkedIn. That's really the only thing that I'm on. But feel free to go ahead, connect me.
Okay, and I'll put your link in the description. But yeah, definitely hit him up, especially if you're interested in what he's trying to do. Whether you have questions about him in his area, or if you got a job you want to give him, that's also what's up. Do that as well. But yeah, continue to tune in. This hopefully will go up on Thursday, if not this Thursday, the next Thursday. But stay tuned for more to come. So stay safe, stay secure.